ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930 present The Drive. Winner of the 2024 West Virginia Broadcasters Association Excellence in Broadcasting Award for Best Talk Show.
It is Friday, August 23rd. Your drive begins now on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. I'm your host, Paul Swann. Our text line this hour is 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Coming up this hour, we're going to hear from Dicky Martin. He'll have the call of the Ashland Tomcats in action tonight, opening up the season at Raceland. You can listen to that game on our sister station, Cat Sports 93.3 and 1340. Dicky joins us about 5:15. And then coming up at 5:30, we're going to speak with Jerry Tipton. Now, Jerry has had a legendary career. Of course, he is a famed Marshall alum, former Herald-Dispatch sports writer. He's been covering the Bluegrass State for more years than I can count. He has a book out called Deja Blue, a sports writer reflects on 41 seasons of Kentucky basketball. He's going to have a book signing 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. on Tuesday at the Marshall University Bookstore at the Memorial Student Center. And Jerry joins us in about 15, 20 minutes or so. We're going to talk to him about his upcoming book signing and just get his thoughts and reflections on his career and coming back to Marshall. And, of course, we got the text line. We'll get that open here in the next few minutes as Marshall coming up next week. We've got football to start talking about. We actually had some football to talk about yesterday. The Bengals go 0-3 in the preseason. They lost to the Colts 27-14, but it was exhibition. So I really didn't lose any sleep over that last night. I was watching. I had a difficult time last night. I was trying to listen to the Pirates game. The Pirates coming up tonight, 6:15. They beat the Reds 7-0. And so back in action tonight, 6:15 right here. And I was trying to listen to that last night. At the same time, I was trying to keep an eye on the Bengals game. That was on Prime last night and over on our sister station as well, Cat Sports 93.3 and 1340. So I'm trying to keep a track of that. And then I'm watching Marshall soccer as the Thundering Herd got the win yesterday to open up the season 1-0 now. They beat Cal State Fullerton 3-0. And so off to a good start. So I'm trying to keep track of all of that going on. And I'm thinking to myself, here we are. I'm not going to want for anything here in the next few days. College football starting back up. Of course, we've got games coming up on Saturday. We, of course, have got Marshall opening up the following Saturday, taking on Stony Brook. So a lot going on. This is kind of fun time. It's the start of everything. High school football starting back up in our immediate area. For those of you abroad, we have several games tonight. Ironton, one of the most prominent schools in our region, taking on Wheelersburg on the road tonight. Boyd County will take on South Point. Fairland taking on Portsmouth West. Colegrove at Greenup County. And then Chesapeake will take on Sims Valley tonight. So that's sort of the highlight of the games in our area as Ohio and Kentucky and high school football getting underway. For those of you on the West Virginia side of things, that begins next week. And, of course, we'll have Huntington High right here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. So we're really there. It's real, as Coach Huff would say. It's real. And it's happening real soon. So I think we got a fun show today. I always love talking to Dicky Martin, get a chance to catch up with him, talk about the Tomcats, what they look like this year. I think it's going to be more of the same for the Tomcats. You look at what they did last year, and you try to build off of that. The Tomcats were really good. 10-2 record, really good. So we'll talk to Dicky about that in the next few minutes. Also, we've got the schedule, and I'm not overlooking it. I just want to save a little bit of it for later. But we've got the men's basketball out-of-conference schedule. So that's out now. And they released that information along with their season ticket information, sort of a 2-for-1 deal. Here's the full schedule. Season tickets are now available. I wish they would have released this a little sooner, maybe as these games were announced or official. But here's the official schedule. I know we tried to piece it together a few weeks ago. I'll have to go back and see how well we did. But they have an exhibition game. They call it Fans First, October 27th. This is the Marshall men's basketball team taking on Pikeville. And then on November 4th, Davis and Elkins will be at the Henderson Center. November 9th, Marshall will face off at the Henderson Center against Toledo. Then we have two games on the 11th and 16th before the first road game. It'll be Southern Indiana and Bellarmine. These two games will be November 11th and 16th at the Henderson Center. And then November 23rd, road trip, taking on Purdue. Back home, November 27th against South Carolina State. On the road for a game I hope will continue as a series, November 30th at Western Kentucky. And then we get into the December slate. Game against Morehead State on December 4th. On the road for two, December 7th at UNCW, and then December 11th at Wright State. Back home, December 14th against Ohio. Follow that up December 16th with West Virginia Wesleyan. And then you slide into the first part of the Sun Belt schedule. As we all know, Southern Miss will be a road game for the Thundering Herd. But before they get back home on January 2nd to take on Texas State, they will have a pit stop. They'll take on Elon on the schedule, December 28th. So Southern Miss on the road, probably come back home, quick Christmas break, come back, do that, hit the road quickly, December 28th at Elon, and then get into the meat of the conference schedule. So that's a look at the basketball schedule. Early thoughts on this now that you've seen it and you know what it looks like. Are you cool with the MAC schools? I am. I'm good with that. Toledo, no problem there. Ohio, good with that as well. What do you think about Davis and Elkins and West Virginia Wesleyan? Are you okay with those schools being on the set schedule? Does that do anything for you? Does Elon do anything for you? I'm okay with Wright State, UNCW. I'm not sure I'm in love with Southern Indiana or Bellarmine. Not sure if I like those games. But this is the schedule you have. What do you think? Anything stand out in the non-conference? I mean, I really don't think you were trying to build up excitement by releasing it all at once. I think you could have just released this as it was made available. I think you could have generated a little bit more excitement for the season tickets just by, hey, we got Purdue coming up on November 23rd as that game was official. I'm not sure that overall this is an exciting out-of-conference schedule. There are a few games that I like. There are a few games I'm not in love with. The conference schedule, I think, is a little bit more exciting for me than the non-conference schedule. But yeah, I like the Ohio game. I like the Purdue game. I like the Western Kentucky game. I'm okay with UNCW and Wright State. Those are fine games. I'm not so sure I love Southern Indiana or Bellarmine again. Wesleyan, Davis, and Elkins, those are just home games, paycheck there for those schools. So what do you think? You excited for the schedule? 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. We'll turn our attention to high school football. Dicky Martin's going to join us. He'll have the call tonight of the Ashland Tomcats. They're in Ashland, taking on Raceland. We'll have that game for you coming up 7 o'clock on our sister station, Cat Sports 93.3 and 1340. Dicky Martin on the other side of the break here on The Drive, ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
The Marshall Hall of Fame Cafe heard what you're craving and is here to satisfy your appetite for value. Introducing the All Mine for $10.99 menu for a limited time only at the Marshall Hall of Fame Cafe. Enjoy bottomless Fiesta Bravo chips and salsa, your choice of a chicken sandwich, or a Hall of Fame cheeseburger, fries, and a drink for only $10.99.
All that for $10.99?
No, all mine for $10.99. No rules, any day, anytime. All mine for only $10.99 from the Marshall Hall of Fame Cafe on the corner of Fun and 3rd Avenue in downtown Huntington.
Metro Community Federal Credit Union has been serving the Huntington community for 70 years and is proud to announce our newest location in Lavalette is now open. Wayne County residents, you now have access to a modern banking facility, a full range of services, advanced technology, expert financial advice, and even a smart coffee kiosk cafe. Learn more about Metro Community Federal Credit Union online at metrocommunityfcu.com or visit us today on 5th Street Road.
Equal housing lender, member NCUA. Is reviewing life insurance on your to-do list? Now's the perfect time to add it. A friend recently told me that securing life insurance sooner rather than later can help you lock in lower rates for years to come. So, I bumped this up on my list and got it done. I called SelectQuote and couldn't believe how easy and affordable life insurance is. I'm 40 and got a $500,000 policy for $16 a month. My husband's also 40 and his $500,000 policy was only $18 a month. Plus, with SelectQuote's same-day coverage, there was no medical exam required, and we were covered by the time we hung up. Knowing I have this checked off my list feels amazing, but the peace of mind knowing my family is protected feels even better.
Call SelectQuote at 1-800-694-1010. That's 1-800-694-1010. Or go to SelectQuote.com to get your free quote today. 1-800-694-1010. Details on example rate at SelectQuote.com.
Are you tired of the blazing sun beating down on you while you drive? Well, say goodbye to heat and glare with ProTint, your Lumar Formula One tint installer. ProTint's premier window tinting not only keeps you cool and comfortable, but also protects your vehicle's interior from fading and cracking. ProTint guarantees a flawless installation every time. Choose ProTint for a sleek, stylish look, unbeatable UV protection, and customer service. Visit WV ProTint on Facebook today.
This is The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
Still to come, we're going to speak with Jerry Tipton coming up at 5:30. He has got a book signing coming up next week at Marshall for his book, Deja Blue, a sportswriter reflects on 41 seasons of Kentucky basketball. It'll be 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. on Tuesday at the Marshall University Bookstore in the Memorial Student Center. So he's coming up in the next few minutes, but first we want to welcome to the program now another favored son of the Bluegrass State. He is the longtime voice of the Ashland Tomcats, and he joins us now, Dicky Martin. How many seasons has this been for you, Dicky?
Well, believe it or not, when we start basketball season, I'll be starting my 48th year.
48 years. Wow. It feels like...
I'm finishing up. I didn't start till basketball. So I'm basically finishing up my 47th when I get through with football usually.
Okay, so we'll start 48 years, 48 seasons when basketball rolls around. It doesn't feel like it's been that long. I mean, it feels like...
Oh, yes, it does, my God. I can tell you that.
It doesn't feel like it's been that long. It feels like only yesterday that you and I met.
Only yesterday.
It was only yesterday that you and I met, and the first thing was...
Come on. I've known you for years.
I know. The first thing out of people's mouths was, Dicky's so mean to people, and, I find you to be a warm, lovable teddy bear. I don't know what people are talking about.
Well, God love your heart. Well, you and I get along pretty well. We do all right.
Yeah, I love you. I think the best of you, and I'm excited that we got another year of Ashland Tomcats football and basketball on Cat Sports. And basketball on Cat Sports in 93.3 and 1340. So Tomcats looking really good last year. Didn't finish the way you wanted to. Of course, state championships, how you always want to finish. But 10-2 last year. You lost in the state playoff quarterfinals. 35-28 loss to Covington Catholic. That's not anything to be ashamed of. And so this year, Coach Chad Tackett hopefully has another outstanding year, and you get things started tonight against a really good Raceland Rams team.
Yes, we do. It was a nice. Chad Tackett's doing just a marvelous job. He was in his third year. He's been an assistant before that for 15 years, and of course won state championship just a few short years ago. And so everybody can't go out to state champion, but that's okay. There's only 6 guys left at the end in Kentucky that are winners, and the rest are all losers. But we gave Tomcats a good run. They went on to the finals, got beat in the finals, but we played them as close as anybody and gave them a little scare, and they scored late in the game to beat us, but that's okay. And they just had a player we couldn't guard, and that's about it. So, but we got some really good kids coming back. We got, of course, our coach and our staff, and got some really, really good skilled people coming back. So it could be a very promising year for the Tomcats again.
Yeah, you lost, I believe, 17 seniors graduating, but you have some talented players coming back, and it all starts at quarterback. You have a quarterback in LeBryant Strader. He threw for, over 1,800 yards last year, if I'm correct, 20 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Only one interception. And he rushed for 7 as well. I mean, you got to watch out for him on the ground.
Yeah, you do. I don't think he'll run as much because of that. We lost him for 3 games last year because of the shoulder. And he scrambles well, and he's got some decent speed, and he's a monster back there to try to tackle. But if he doesn't have to run, I don't think he will. But if the game calls for it, he will. So there you are. But that's about normal for us. We lose 15 to 20 seniors every year. We don't rebuild. We just reload. And we've got 15 seniors this year and some mighty good ones and a good junior class, a pretty good sophomore class. And the freshmen and 8th graders are good. So we'll be just fine. So it's a promising year with Strader and Braxton Jennings and Maverick Ashby and Cam Davis. Those are the guys that you'll hear me talk about a lot on the radio because they're the ones that make it happen, basically. But we got some good people up front with Frame and Billups, Marushi, Hutchinson. We got some. We were a little suspect on defense last year, to be honest with you. We gave up 17, 18 points a game, and that's probably about 5 or 6 too many. So we got to do a better job defensively. And Coach Tackett and I talked about that in our pregame tonight. So I invite you to listen to how we've got to get a little more aggressive on the defensive side of the football and do a better job of keeping the defense off the field. We just got to do a better job. So, but I think we will. We got good young kids, and we're going to be fine.
With Strader back there, quarterback once again, I'm sure that Braxton Jennings is going to be one of his favorite go-tos. He had, over 800 rushing yards last year, and definitely was able to get into the end zone. 800 or 900, something like that. He's got over 2,100 yards starting the season now. And I look for him to rush for 1,000 this year. And, he caught what people don't realize. He may have not been a 1,000-yard rusher, but he caught 21 or 22 balls last year that amounted to about 500 or 600 yards. So he's a really, we can put him out there in the slot, and he'll go get the football and make something happen. Now, this team tonight, as we mentioned, taking on a really good Raceland team, but they're in a situation where they're sort of rebuilding. They had a lot of departures.
Yeah, they are.
Quarterback especially. Logan Lundy last year. He was a heck of a quarterback.
Yeah, they had a real good quarterback, some nice linemen up front, as well as some nice skilled people. And it was a great game at the stadium last year, and we won. But, of course, they went on to the single-A state championship. Where they've been there 3 of the last 5 years, I think it is. So they don't, quite honestly, Paul, they're kind of like us. They don't really rebuild. They just kind of reload because they've got a great football program and a great coach in Mike Salmon. So that's the way we do it.
My guest is Dicky Martin. He's going to have the call of Ashland at Raceland tonight, and that's going to be on Cat Sports from 93.3 and 1340. Always an exciting matchup between these two when they get together. And, of course, the Tomcats are on the road, and I know we're excited for next week because next week we're getting a little bit closer to that first home game. Your first couple of games are going to be on the road.
Get to go home.
Yeah, but
September 6th.
Finally, you'll get to go home and play on what's looking to be a really nice playing surface.
Yeah. We got the new field turf is now down, and it's not playable yet because they still have to, what they call, groom it. So it's not playable yet. So it has to set. And they put this rubber pellets down in the sand and yada, 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 and I don't know all what it is, but whatever it is, that's it's not playable yet. But it will be by September 6th easily, and we'll be ready to go.
You excited? Renovations always happening, it seems, for the Tomcats. I don't think I've known too many years where something new hasn't been happening.
Well, we rebuilt the stadium 11 years ago, and because it had to be rebuilt, and I wasn't sure I was going to like it, but I turned out to like it. And I'll be honest with you, I'm not sure I like the field turf and what they've done. It's beautiful. Don't get me wrong. It's absolutely gorgeous. It's quite a piece to look at, but it's going to take me a while to get used to it because I'm used to grass since 1937. So there you are. But I'll get used to it. I'll be fine.
I'll tell you what, if you volunteer to cut it, they'll put the grass right back out there for you.
Let me tell you, big boy, I've cut that grass many, many times, way back about 25 years ago or so, when I was much younger and in my prime.
Dicky Martin's with us. He's still in his prime now. Don't let him lie to you. He is in his
well, thank you.
He is in his 47th season calling football. He'll begin his 48th season with basketball. And, of course, I'm kind of curious. We've got Jerry Tipton coming on next, and he's written a book, Deja Blue, a sportswriter reflects on 41 seasons of Kentucky basketball.
I haven't read it yet, but I've known Jerry for many years, back when he was at the Huntington Herald-Dispatch, and he's just a terrific writer, great guy. I got his book, but I haven't read it yet. Sorry, Jerry. But I will intend to read it, and I've always been a big fan of his. He writes good stories. He writes good columns. He's a number one. Good man.
I wonder if you're in the book, if he's written anything about you.
I doubt it. I don't know why I would be in there.
I mean, you've been everywhere. You've done everything, Dicky. I would think you've crossed paths with him a little bit.
No. I've been to a lot of places. I've been very fortunate, blessed, to call games all over the country and all that kind of stuff, and win state championships and all that kind of stuff. But he was with the Kentucky Wildcats when they won. Went to the NCAA finals 3 years in a row and won 2 of them. So there you go.
My guest is Dicky Martin, who is having a fantastic end of his 47th season with the Tomcats, and then we'll be kicking off the 48th season with basketball. And you can listen tonight on our sister station, Cat Sports 93.3 and 1340. And so I'm sure everyone will be tuned in tonight, their favorite place on the radio. Of course, I'll tune in tonight on my Alexa app and listen to you that way as well, because I know you love the Alexa
app.
That's
pretty cool. Yeah, that's pretty cool. But if it's give our listeners how you get it through the App Store and on your telephone and all that, because of course I have that all written down.
It's real simple. All people have to do if they want to do an easy way of doing it is they can go to our website, catsports933.com, and there's a link for it there. Or you can tell your Echo device to enable the Cat Sports 93.3 skill, and then you can play the skill, and it'll take you right to the broadcast. So it's real simple.
You go.
You can download the app on the phone as well. And, of course, you can do it the old-fashioned way, which is still my favorite. You can listen to it on the radio.
Yeah, there you go. And we got a lot of radio listeners.
Have fun tonight. I know you got a crazy crew
I'm
with you
there.
there.
My best.
Yeah, you have a crazy crew with you tonight. Have fun.
I've got Hobie Rogers and Dr. Bill Cornwell with me, so we're in good shape.
All right. Hopefully you won't need the services of Dr. Cornwell tonight, but have a good game.
Well, you never know, big boy.
He'll be ready to take over just in case.
There you go. I'm ready.
Have a good game, man.
Okay, thanks, Paul.
There you have it, Dicky Martin, the game tonight on our sister station, Cat Sports 93.3 and 1340. When we continue, he's described as legendary Kentucky sports writer, and he's earned every moment of that. Jerry Tipton joins us when we continue on this edition of The Drive, ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
At Poca Valley Bank, a handshake can still mean the start of a great relationship. We've been greeting customers with a handshake since 1908. Why settle for less? If you're purchasing your first home or planning for your future, Poca Valley Bank is here to support you with personalized service and local expertise. They are your trusted advisors. Why settle for less when you can experience banking with a team that truly cares? Poca Valley Bank, where relationships matter. Visit PocaValleyBank.com. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Giovanni's Pizza. Fresh, hot, and tasty. Have it delivered right to your door. Giovanni's, the Italian place to be.
Is reviewing life insurance on your to-do list? Now's the perfect time to add it. A friend recently told me that securing life insurance sooner rather than later can help you lock in lower rates for years to come. So, I bumped this up on my list and got it done. I called SelectQuote and couldn't believe how easy and affordable life insurance is. I'm 40 and got a $500,000 policy for $16 a month. My husband's also 40 and his $500,000 policy was only $18 a month. Plus, with SelectQuote's same-day coverage, there was no medical exam required, and we were covered by the time we hung up. Knowing I have this checked off my list feels amazing, but the peace of mind knowing my family is protected feels even better.
Call SelectQuote at 1-800-694-1010. That's 1-800-694-1010. Or go to SelectQuote.com to get your free quote today. 1-800-694-1010. Details on example rate at SelectQuote.com.
Hey, it's Lex and Terry, K&B Pest Control, locally owned and operated in Huntington, West Virginia, serving the tri-state.
Man, these guys are great. They do residential and commercial, indoor, outdoor, free estimates. These guys are the best, I'm telling you.
This is when the critters come out. High customer ratings, satisfaction guaranteed, large fleet, crew, meaning same-day appointments, and quick service.
All you got to do is pick up your phone and call Patrick, the owner. Okay, that's what you got to do. Or Becca. They're standing by to take care of you guys. It's knbpestcontrol.com online. And give them a call, man. They got a great Facebook page. Go ahead and like it. They got a phone number. We'll give you that. Why not? It's free. 304-523-4281.
Or go to knbpestcontrol.com. They will tell you what everything looks like, what you're looking for, if you're getting a pest problem, and get on top of it. They're the best. Make sure you call Patrick once again, who is very passionate about his pest control, or Becca. K&B Pest Control. They'll kill for your business.
Trust the guys with over 40 years of experience at K&B Pest Control.
Are you tired of the blazing sun beating down on you while you drive? Well, say goodbye to heat and glare with ProTint, your Lumar Formula One tint installer. ProTint's premier window tinting not only keeps you cool and comfortable, but also protects your vehicle's interior from fading and cracking. ProTint guarantees a flawless installation every time. Choose ProTint for a sleek, stylish look, unbeatable UV protection, and customer service. Visit WV ProTint on Facebook today.
This is The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
Welcome back to our Friday edition of The Drive. I'm your host, Paul Swann. Our text line is open, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. We'll open that back up for you in just a few minutes. But first, we've got a very special guest joining us now on the program. He's going to be in Huntington signing his book, Deja Blue. A sports writer reflects on 41 seasons of Kentucky basketball. He's a legendary sports writer. That's what everybody says, so you have to accept that title. Jerry Tipton's with us. Everybody calls you legend. You were at the Herald-Dispatch for so many years. Of course, you're a Marshall University alum. You're in a bunch of Hall of Fames. You have to accept that title of legend.
Well, Paul, to be honest with you, I think of legend as like fictional. And I'm a real person. But anyway, it's very flattering. And, I just tried to do my job. I wasn't trying to reach legendary status. I didn't think it was about me. It was about, doing the coverage.
So you've got the book coming up. You're going to be at the bookstore signing. For those that maybe are not familiar exactly with what the book is about outside of it's Kentucky basketball, obviously. We know that. But what was your focus when you wrote Deja Blue?
Well, it took me some time, Paul, to come up with a focus. I had a lot of anxiety at the beginning of, can I do this? I'd never done a book before. And then once I convinced myself, okay, we're talking 41 seasons, then the anxiety was, how do I do it? How do I organize it? And so, I had several themes in mind. One, it is a memoir, so I thought I'm not entirely comfortable being in the spotlight. And I remember a Marshall journalism professor saying when I was a student that if the story's about the reporter, that's not good. But, of course, this is different. It is a memoir. So I'm in there, and I also talked to more than 40 people former players that I covered at Kentucky and so on. Roommate that I had at Marshall in the dorm, and I wanted to give it something of a historical feel also.
Do you feel that this is a different picture that you're painting compared to maybe your coverage? Because anyone can put together, maybe rehash some columns, call it a day. But for you, you didn't want to do that. You didn't want this necessarily to be just a reprint of the greatest hits.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I tried to make an effort. I didn't want to just slap something together. And, I kind of point out, the approach that I took, which was nothing, I just tried to be objective. And that's what I learned as a Marshall journalism student. And, tried to do the job and professionally. And, I tried to hit on that. And someone said to me, what sparked it was early on in the process, someone said to me, well, maybe an aspiring sports writer could read it and learn from it, maybe gain something from it. So that was on my mind also, to try to be helpful.
My guest is former Herald-Dispatch sports writer, and he's covered Kentucky for over 41 seasons. It's Jerry Tipton. The book is Deja Blue, a sports writer reflects on 41 seasons of Kentucky basketball. So you've seen a lot. You've been with the Wildcats through some great times and some not so great times. Can you pin it down, maybe 2 or 3 things that are in the book that stand out the most for you?
Well, Paul, the cliche is that journalism, coverage in the newspaper and so on, is the first draft of history. And, on occasion, that came to life. And one game that comes immediately to mind is what we call the Christian Laettner game. And I go into that, and it was just such a memorable game. There was a lot of talk about it being the greatest game ever played. And it was pretty overwhelming to, I was immediately, not panic stricken, but I was worried. And when the game ended, like, how am I going to find the words to try to capture this game? And I don't know if I succeeded or not, because it just seemed like such a magnificent game. That comes to mind. And like you said, there's ups and downs. And I think, and I tell people this, that I think any reporter wants to cover something that the readers or the listeners or the viewers are really interested in. And I never worried about that with Kentucky fans. They and the the Herald Leader readers, they were into it. I never doubted that. And so that was motivating in a way to try to, satisfy them while being objective and maybe writing stories on occasion that they didn't like.
Has that been a challenge in this modern day and age where social media has taken over and everything's bite-sized, quick? Sometimes there's not much of a filter when it comes to a lot of things that are put out there. Is it challenging, or has it been challenging for you? You're trying to do the job. You're not taking sides. If it's good, it's good. If it's bad, it's bad. You're trying to report on it, and maybe sometimes that doesn't go over well. So through your years of covering sports, how has that been for you? Challenging? How have you adapted?
Well, absolutely. And I think more challenging because of the internet and social media and so on. And my last game covering was the Kentucky losing to St. Peter's in the first round of the 2022 NCAA tournament. And I remember that Kentucky had a guard named Kellen Grady, very good player, shooter, really good shooter, transfer from Davidson. And he did not shoot well, and he had not played and shot well over the last month or so of the season. So anyway, in the post-game press conference, I asked him about, why he felt like he hadn't been shooting well, and what impact did he think that had in that game. because I thought it was the difference in the game. And so he answered. He was an adult even then, and but what I didn't factor in was that fans, readers, they can go online and watch the press conferences. So I got some angry emails about that question, which I didn't think I asked it with any attitude or anything. I just thought, like I say, it was a key component of that game and of the game story that I anticipated doing. So that was my motivation. And but that was sort of something to remind me, because I didn't want to be intimidated by, the readers could be watching this, so I better watch what I say. No, I was trying to do my job. And somehow I gained a reputation for asking quote unquote hard questions. And I tell people that I wasn't trying to do that. I was trying to ask quote unquote good questions. And I was thinking of the readers and trying to think of questions a reader might ask as while reading the story.
Do you feel that with that type of access now that the fans have, seeing it almost real time, that sometimes that some of the younger sports writers, sportscasters, maybe it's a little performative for them because they know that their question is going to be heard as well? It's not like it used to be where you could talk to, say, a player, have a conversation with them, and then you put that story together because the question was designed to try to get the response. It wasn't to get the response from the player, is what I'm saying, not to get the response from the fans.
Well, yeah, exactly. And in the olden days, I'm talking about 80s, there was much better access. The media had much better access. We could, the media could go to practices. And I remember one Thanksgiving when Eddie Sutton was the coach. He had 3 practices on Thanksgiving, and I was here in Lexington. I didn't have family here, so I went to all 3 practices just to take it in and keep busy and be entertained. And you could, I always sought to have conversations with players or whoever I was interviewing, rather than make it question response, to try to delve into things. So, with social media and everything, yes, I think it's much more of, I don't know. It seems like, I don't want to say scrutiny, but people are, it's interesting to me that, of course, my byline was on stories and whoever's covering their bylines there. And I think people assume that it's like a personal agenda going on by the writer. And, I wanted to tell them that these things are a collaborative effort. There's editors, there's copy editors, and, it's not just me, although my name or the reporter's name is the only one there on the story that they see. It's not just a single-minded thing.
My guest is Jerry Tipton, coming up on Tuesday, Marshall University Bookstore at the Memorial Student Center from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. He'll be signing his book, Deja Blue, a sports writer reflects on 41 seasons of Kentucky basketball. How did the Marshall appearance come about? Of course, you've spent years with the Herald-Dispatch, you're a Marshall alum, and now you have the book, your coverage of UK basketball and football, of course, you've seen it all. How this appearance come about? Because Marshall, UK, sometimes the two fan bases don't necessarily meet eye to eye. You're walking the line between both.
Well, I just, like I say, it's a memoir, so I have to include myself in there. And I grew up in Michigan, in the Detroit area. And so I get into coming to Marshall, why I went to attended Marshall, how I became a journalism major. And I was a sophomore the year the football team plane crashed. And I go into that. Fortunately, I wasn't part of the coverage of that. That would have been just overwhelming. But and I go into one of our dorm buddies was a manager on the team, and we, this was prior to cell phones and texting and all of that. So we didn't know if he was on the plane or not. We just had to wait and see if he was there on Sunday, which fortunately he was. And we've remained friends and in contact. And he was one of the more than 40 people I talked to kind of in trying to put the book together to remember things. But I thought, Marshall was just so important in my growth and trying to become a sports reporter that I definitely had to include my Marshall days in it.
You haven't been away that long from Marshall, so nothing will be really shocking to you when you get back. And I'm sure you're going to go take a tour, go see some of the old places, right, before the book signing, or at least try to get that in.
I think they want me to speak to a sports journalism class after the signing. So I'm going to do that. And how it came about, I guess I didn't answer your previous question. The publisher of the book, it's published by Acclaim Press, he read it and saw the Marshall, chapters and thought it would, it made sense and maybe there would be an interest to have a signing and on campus. And so I think the publisher contacted Marshall people and they put it together. And I was very happy that it's coming about.
Of course, I'm sure Marshall jumped on it. Obviously, we mentioned you're legendary, but you have had a tremendous career, and you're a Hall of Famer, including Marshall's Journalism Hall of Fames. So, yeah, you've been in a few Hall of Fames, and you still have some stuff to go, I'm sure, right? I mean, the book's not the only thing coming out from you. After this, you have anything else you're working on?
No, not really. I'm I have some thoughts in mind, and I'm going to try to work through this process to, publicizing the book and going out and having signing events. I had one last night at a bookstore here in Lexington, and, that was fun. And so I'm on the lookout for, other such events to promote the book. And, I'm not sure. I think it's important in retirement to stay busy. And I've tried to do that. But I haven't thought specifically about, say, another book. I'll have to, there's a possibility of something, but I don't know how likely it is.
Jerry Tipton, my guest. He'll be at Marshall on Tuesday. It'll be at the Marshall University Bookstore in the Memorial Student Center. It's the book Deja Blue, a sports writer reflects on 41 seasons of Kentucky basketball. Jerry, always good to talk to you. Glad to have you back. We're excited to have you back in Huntington next week, and I know you're excited to be here and probably just relax while you watch some football this weekend and next as well. I mean, that's probably the best part of being at least away from the game 24/7 is you can actually sit back and maybe enjoy the game a little bit more now.
Well, yeah, I tell people that, when the game ends, I turn the TV off, and if it's a night game, I go to sleep, go to bed. Instead of, in the olden days when I was working, it would probably take me about 3 hours after the game ended to get done what I needed to get done. But I still enjoy watching, and it's fun, and I like to see drama, tie score with 2 minutes to go, what's going to happen, that sort of thing. But, Paul, I appreciate you helping me spread the word on the signing Tuesday.
Looking forward to it. Jerry, thanks for doing it again, and we'll see you soon.
All right. Take care.
Jerry Tipton, former Herald-Dispatch sports writer. He's covered UK for a long time. The book is Deja Blue, a sports writer reflects on 41 seasons of Kentucky basketball. He'll be at the Marshall University Bookstore in the Memorial Student Center on Tuesday, August 27th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Let's get our text line open, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. We've got football coming up this weekend. We've got football finally for the Herd next weekend. And we've got the basketball schedule to talk about. All that when we continue on today's edition of The Drive, ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Remember the first day of school, new backpack, fresh hairstyle, cool new shoes? Now, if only Mom had washed the car before dropping you off. Send your kids back to class and help them make a great first impression this new school year with a clean ride from Thoroughbred Express. Choose from a range of services tailored to meet your needs. From their signature wash and dry to tire shine, foam bath, triple foam, wheel cleaner, bug press, ceramic seal, ceramic shield, and weather guard. Thoroughbred Express has you covered. And after your wash, enjoy post-wash amenities like high-powered vacuums, all-purpose cleaner spray, fresh microfiber towels, and dedicated bay trash cans. All available at your local Thoroughbred Express location. So whether you're dropping the kids off or heading to campus yourself, a quick visit to Thoroughbred will make this school year shine. Wash with the best. Thoroughbred Express. Find a Thoroughbred Express location near you at thoroughbredexpress.com. Are you tired of the blazing sun beating down on you while you drive? Well, say goodbye to heat and glare with ProTint, your Lumar Formula One tint installer. ProTint's premier window tinting not only keeps you cool and comfortable, but also protects your vehicle's interior from fading and cracking. ProTint guarantees a flawless installation every time. Choose ProTint for a sleek, stylish look, unbeatable UV protection, and customer service. Visit WV ProTint on Facebook today.
Save big money on your next upgrade now at Menards. Some things never go out of style, like tile from Mohawk. You can count on the durability, easy maintenance, and timeless beauty of tile. With over 350 ceramic, porcelain, mosaic, and glass tiles to choose from, Mohawk Tile provides long-lasting charm in any space. Visit the store and Menards.com to see all our great deals going on in our weekly flyer.
Save big money at Menards. Is reviewing life insurance on your to-do list? Now's the perfect time to add it. A friend recently told me that securing life insurance sooner rather than later can help you lock in lower rates for years to come. So I bumped this up on my list and got it done. I called SelectQuote and couldn't believe how easy and affordable life insurance is. I'm 40 and got a $500,000 policy for $16 a month. My husband's also 40 and his $500,000 policy was only $18 a month. Plus, with SelectQuote's same-day coverage, there was no medical exam required, and we were covered by the time we hung up. Knowing I have this checked off my list feels amazing, but the peace of mind knowing my family is protected feels even better.
Call Select Quote at 1-800-694-1010. That's 1-800-694-1010. Or go to SelectQuote.com to get your free quote today. 1-800-694-1010. Details on example rate at SelectQuote.com.
Buddy's All-American Barbecue is now in Milton. Enjoy all your favorite Buddy's classics like pulled pork, brisket, ribs, and more on East Main Street in Milton. Buddy's All-American Barbecue, the home of great barbecue, ice-cold beer, and killer wings in Huntington and now in Milton.
You're listening to The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Winner of the 2024 West Virginia Broadcasters Association Excellence in Broadcasting Award for Best Talk Show.
Final segment, the top to it. Text lines 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. First up, this is probably from a couple of days ago. At least the thought was the text is new. So here we go again. Paul, tell Christian Spears, no country roads. So we don't want country roads being played at the Marshall games. Is that where we're at? Is that the official stance? Again, I'll keep that open. 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. The Marshall men's basketball schedule released earlier today, along with details on how you can get season tickets. The schedule, not the most exciting non-conference schedule I've ever seen. It'll be fine. It's okay. I'm not in love with everything on this schedule. But at the same time, it's not bad. It could be better. Texter writes in and says, this is mediocre at best. Also from the text line, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Marshall has no business playing Davis and Elkins and West Virginia Wesleyan. Those games do nothing for Marshall's strength of schedule or for its RPI. Text line, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. I don't know what the future schedules will look like. How much of this schedule is sort of a holdover from Dan D'Antoni's philosophies and his influence? How much of this is Cornelius Jackson trying to piece something together? How much of this is Marshall's directives from athletic director Christian Spears as far as what makes sense from him financially, what makes sense for the program? The non-conference schedule is okay. Davis and Elkins is not that exciting, and it'll be a chance to see the Herd. Of course, you have the exhibition game with Pikeville. Toledo, that'll be interesting. Former MAC opponent, get a chance to see them again. Southern Indiana, not so much. Bellarmine, not so much. Purdue on the road, that'll be interesting. Western Kentucky on the road, that'll be interesting. South Carolina State at home, Morehead State. I think South Carolina State could be okay. Morehead State should be played. I think you should have some of those regional games. I'm okay with schools like UNCW and Wright State. Those are fine. Those are both on the road. Ohio should be played every year, former MAC opponent. So that should be played. That's going to be at home. Conference schedule begins with Southern Miss on the road, and then before you get into the home portion of your conference schedule, you're on the road at Elon after the Christmas break. Elon, other than maybe filling up a need to get some work in, I don't know what that does for you, if it serves a greater purpose other than, again, you needed a game before you get into the rest of the conference schedule with the layoff between December 21st at Southern Miss and then the next conference game being January 2nd. Of course, you got the Christmas break in between all of that. I think you should have just maybe had the Christmas break, and then conference should have started back up maybe a little bit after. I think you could have worked in another game. Of course, the way this conference works, March 4th through the 10th is going to be the Sun Belt Conference Championship. So things go a little early, and that's fine. You get it over with a little quicker than usual. And you look at the schedule, Marshall on the road to open up conference at Southern Miss, and then skip that Elon game. We'll look at the next 4 games. Those are all home games for the Herd, and then 4 road games. And then you have 3 home, 4 road, 2 home. So that's what it looks like as far as the schedule is concerned. I don't know if you could have worked it out so you could have maybe split that up a little bit better, like have 2 home, 2 road, 2 home, 2 road. Just every other weekend, maybe have Marshall basketball instead of going a couple of weeks without the men. And, of course, you got to keep an eye on what's happening on the other side with the women's schedule as well. So you'll have basketball. The problem is you're not going to have consistency at home or on the road. You're either going to be on the road or at home in chunks. And you're not really getting that rhythm. 4 games at home, 4 on the road, 3 at home, 4 on the road, 2 at home. Tournament time. What do you think of the schedule? You can find me on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Paul Swann. Of course, we'll be back with you on Monday. We'll be getting started with the football previews. Marshall taking on, hopefully, and I mean this, a easy game in Stony Brook. I would like Marshall just to cruise in that first game and get a lot of playing time for a lot of players and then just focus on the next game. Hopefully it's not going to be a challenging game. And I don't want to disappoint anyone, but I just want that to be an easy go of it for Thundering Herd football. That's going to do it. Thanks for tuning in. I'll be back with you on Monday. If you missed any part of today's show or you want to go back, you can find us on Apple Podcast or wherever you get your podcast. Have a great weekend, everyone. We'll talk to you on Monday.
Retransmitting on Glorious FM on 94.1 W227BS Huntington. This is 930 WRVC Huntington, celebrating 100 years of broadcasting.